The Megami Tensei series is an elaborate web of anime, manga, TV series, and video games. Today, we will try to convince you to give one of these branches in the Megami Tensei series a try, as number 5 will hit the Nintendo Switch soonish. Here are 10 things that will make you love Shin Megami Tensei. Despite the Persona series having gained lots of ground in recent years, the Shin Megami Tensei series is still the biggest branch in the Megami Tensei franchise. Even though Persona took over in terms of numbers sold, the entire franchise is built upon the manga Digital Devil story Megami Tensei, released in 1986. The story of this graphic novel is about a young student who summons demons from his computer. From that point, the franchise broke into a variety of sub-series, including Last Bible, Digital Devil Saga, Devil Survivor, Persona, and of course Shin Megami Tensei. Central themes in the Shin Megami Tensei video game series are demons from another universe and technology to summon them, a post-apocalyptic atmosphere, teenagers as protagonists, mature topics, and dungeon crawling. Yes, this is a real JRPG. There are dozens of games that carry the Shin Megami Tensei label. Most of the time, this is done for marketing purposes by the US Department of Atlas. But in this video, we are talking about the core games in the SMT series. Shin Megami Tensei was released for the first time on the Super Famicom in 1992. The second game in the series was never released in the US or Europe. Which brings us to the breakthrough of the series, Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. It was the first game to hit American and European markets in 2004 on the PlayStation 2. It's still praised as one of the best to this day. 5 years later, Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey was released on the Nintendo DS, which later saw an enhanced port called Strange Journey Redux on the 3DS. With Shin Megami Tensei 4 and Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse for the 3DS, the series gained a lot of popularity. And now, Shin Megami Tensei 5 is coming to the Nintendo Switch. The Shin Megami Tensei series is known for its fair amount of dungeon crawling. In the 2 earliest games of the series, this happened from the first-person perspective. But when the series hit the PlayStation 2, the dungeon crawling moved to a third-person perspective in a 3D environment. Strange Journey and Strange Journey Redux moved back to the old-school first-person perspective, while Shin Megami Tensei 4 embraced the third-person gameplay once again. This makes Shin Megami Tensei 4 a bit of a black sheep as the game doesn't have traditional dungeon crawling. However, you do reveal new parts of the map as you explore and encounter enemies. With dungeon crawling comes also some grinding. Shin Megami Tensei would be nothing without a bit of grinding. The Shin Megami Tensei series uses a turn-based battle system. With the release of Nocturne, the series embraced the press turn battle system. This system gives you extra actions when you hit an enemy's elemental weakness. However, if you hit its elemental strength, it costs you actions. These actions are counted through the turn icons on the screen. If you gain more turn icons than you have team members, the party member who's first in action order regains the first move. This system has now been used in a variety of games, including the Persona series when it's called the One More system. When your turns have been depleted, it's the opponent's turn. In many role-playing games, you use one character as a healer and the rest are doing damage. The SMT series is built a lot more around the concept of buffing and debuffing. This is an important element of combat, as it allows you to abuse the elemental weakness of your opponent. You can bless to heal, pray for positive status effects, or use mind skills for negative effects for the enemy. A lullaby can put an enemy to sleep, for example, while dark energy can triple the power of a physical attack. In a sense, you can see Shin Megami Tensei as a dark version of Pokemon. Instead of collecting those funny-looking Pokemon, you're gathering a group of dark demons. Over the entire series, there have been hundreds of demons. These demons all have their own characteristics, being foul, an evil spirit, Oni, avian, and so on. These demons also align with the dark, light, or neutral and follow law or chaos. Demons can be acquired through combat and conversation trees, but you can also create your own demons. Collecting demons is essential to be able to defeat enemies and abuse their weaknesses. So make sure you have a lot of demons so you can switch between them when needed.
Hey Master, you want to hear something useful? There's a certain app that's a must for anyone who fights demons. It's called the Demon Fusion app.
Demon Fusion is a central part of the Shin Megami Tensei games. This system allows you to combine 2 or more demons into one. The new demon inherits characteristics of the demons that were sacrificed. What skills and treats have been copied depends on the type of demons used, the phase of the moon or something similar, and other factors that change a bit in each game. Most demons can be recruited or captured besides being created. However, there are some demons that can only be obtained through special fusion. Some of the SMT games also allow you to fuse a demon into a weapon, giving it special powers. When it comes to accessibility, the series sure isn't for those who lack willpower. Shin Megami Tensei games tend to be quite hard. Most games in the series only have save points at certain locations in the game. This means that those long dungeon crawls can be a daunting expedition. If you fail a fight because an enemy is way too strong, you can choose to go game over or revive yourself with half the gold. For some enemies, you really need a specific type of demon power to defeat it, which can make SMT rather hardcore. Strange Journey and its Redux version are even more hardcore because of the first-person perspective and the lack of save points. At least Shin Megami Tensei 4 has the option to save the game at any given moment. So at least in terms of accessibility, SMT4 is the best game to make your first steps into the series.
I summon you! If your death becomes final, I believe you will suffer great losses.
But don't be a fool. Shin Megami Tensei 4 is still very hardcore. Typical is the moment you are playing the game on normal and decide to switch to easy mode. But even switching to an easier difficulty doesn't go without some humiliation. You need to die once, watch the game strip you from your money, and then you'll have to die again.
Thank you for your patronage. Now then, I'll send back your soul.
Every time you die, the game is literally mocking you for dying. But at least it unlocked easy mode. But just so you know, even on easy mode, this game still provides a challenge with its combat mechanics and demon weaknesses. Dive deep into the world of Shin Megami Tensei and you will discover it's actually full of topics that can cause controversy. Our world is already full of people who take things way too serious, especially when something goes against their values. Well, in SMT you side with demons and you get to fight against religion. In this series, Jehovah or Yahweh is a god who desires only worship and terrorizes humanity. But that all depends on whether you side with the law, chaos, or neutral alignment. You can follow his rules and live among gods, or pick the dark side. Or, hey, you can be neutral and try to destroy both God and Satan at once. Seriously though, if Shin Megami Tensei would ever become as popular as Pokemon, we'll have some serious discussions on mainstream TV. On the horizon is the newest entry in the series, and that's Shin Megami Tensei 5 for the Nintendo Switch. This game is meant to embrace problems of modern society, ranging from unemployment and getting old to terrorism and nuclear weapons. Like previous games in the series, the game is set in modern Tokyo with the Shinagawa Station as a central location. Before we can play Shin Megami Tensei 5, we hope you will try out some of these older games in this beloved series. Hopefully, this video has taught you some things about Shin Megami Tensei, and perhaps you'll be catching demons soon as well.